Hello and welcome to RPG Tips again, and welcome to episode 8 of Stories of Bardoba, the last episode of this year and the last episode before I take some holidays and we make a small pause for Christmas. I am Jose and I'll be your player and game master. Where last we left Vesna, he had earned the title of Slayer or something epic like that because he was able to kill 4 guards, 4 warriors of Amon Kus, all on his own in the encampment of Amon Kus when he was caught during his perfect infiltration mission. And he managed to actually get out of the camp, keeping the letter that Bragg, the leader of the encampment, was sending to the shadow artisan Vanios, and taking the map, which I haven't drawn yet because this episode is probably not going to be calm enough to look at it, but I will for the next one. This map depicted the locations of the other temples of Lamastis, the Black Pyramids, that the cult was trying to get control of. So after his escape, Vesna came back to the Forested Hills area of the map, where he was supposed to meet with Inula. But when we arrived, Mythic decided that Inula wasn't there and that she had been kidnapped by a single entity that was very dangerous. And that's where we go back to the game. I'm not going to make a scene alteration roll because I already did that in the last episode, and in fact it was altered. And because of that we know that Inula is not here. So Vesna arrives to the area to see the cart in disarray. Let's assume that these are the rests of the cart. And thanks to Yorgos in episode 7 because he asked in a comment, is the horse still there? I didn't ask that, and that's a very good question. That's going to let us see what we are facing. So first question of the episode, is the horse there? Let's do that as a 50-50. 12, so it is. So when Vesna arrives to the area, the cart is tumbled over and the horse is still strapped to the cart. Now how hurt is it? I'm going to roll 1d6, where 6 is in perfect condition and 1 is extremely hurt and dying. Well, perfect. Our poor horse is dying. And now the question that I would ask is, how is the horse hurt? Because that is going to help us understanding what has taken Inula. To learn a bit more about which monster we are trying to find, I'm going to roll on the superb appearance generators and rolls with that number to see what we can learn about it. Given that we are in the aftermath of an attack of this monster, we can probably learn its size, its footprints, how it attacks because we have the horse which has been hurt, and maybe something about its hunting methods or drives. I'll ask for those. So first of all, what's his size? I'm going to roll 2d6 for this, where 2 would be a dog-sized, 12 would be dragon-sized, and 6 would be human-sized. 7, so it seems to be slightly larger than human. That's starting to bump its HD, which is bad for us. Now, what's its basic body plan? 2, it's bipedal. I wasn't expecting that. It's bipedal and larger than human. It sounds like an ogre, but I'm sure that we're going to get something much more bizarre. Now, which kind of animal is it most like? Beetle-like, with rounded body and armor. A bipedal, beetle-like monster. This sounds horrible. So now let's roll for 1 or 2 characteristic body parts, and those are going to determine what we see in the scene. So the first one is a 7 egg sacs. Ah, that's horrible. And the other one is a 4 spinnerets. God, this is horrible. If you've got a phobia of spiders or something like that, don't listen to this. So the cart is tumbled, and when Vesna gets close to the horse, he sees that the horse is tied down to the ground, completely covered in a white, silk-like substance that has been tinted red with possibly the horse's blood. Only the head is really visible. The rest is just a lump that is completely covered, and Vesna sees several moving bumps on the body of the horse, some of them that have already broken the silk, and he can see small eggs, insectile eggs, with small creatures inside, the size of a, well, not that small, probably the size of a human fist, that are slowly devouring the horse. This is horrible. On the rest of the area there are also small rests of spider silk, well, silk, beetle silk, that seem to have been launched as a weapon. Okay, now do we see anything that tells us either how does it hunt or why it is hunting? For this I'm going to roll a Wisdom plus Survive roll with a difficulty of 8. Our total bonus for this is 0. 6, no. The area is just scattered around, and the gruesome display of the horse is really creeping out Vesna. Okay, so now please tell me that there is a track or anything or a path that we can follow to actually find Inula. And if we don't find a path, well, Vesna's just going to get into the Forested Hills without any kind of guidance. 10. Okay, perfect. Now that's the path getting to the forested hills. I would assume that it does, but I'm going to ask Mythic with a +4. 15 +4, 19, yes, it does. Following the rest of Silt, Vesna sees how a body has been dragged inside the forested hills. So he follows that, and this is where our scene ends. Okay, so now we're going to get into the second scene, and for the tracking of the beast and Inula, I am going to actually frame this as a delve from Ironsworn Delve. I'm going to be hacking the mechanics of Words Without Number over the stats of Delve, and the difficulty of the Delve is not going to be the difficulty of completing the exploration, but actually the difficulty of finding the beast and Inula. Now in Delve, there are two things that define a dungeon or an area. They are the domain and the theme. The domain is the physical qualities of the area, and the theme is, well, why you should be scared of it, which things you're going to find inside. For the domain, I think it's clear that we're in a Tanglewood, a perilous forest of eternal shadow. For the theme, it could be almost anything, so actually we're going to roll for that. There are 8 themes, so let's see what we have. 8, the last one, wild. Nature prevails in this place. Quite appropriate. Now the last thing we must do before we actually get into exploring this area is defining the difficulty of finding them. This is also quite easy to do in Ironsworn, and I'm going to roll for that. So rolling for the difficulty, what we get is that this tracking is going to be 77 formidable, the third one. Well, it could be worse, I guess. This means that per area we're going to have 1 progress, which is quite simple, so I'm going to track the progress of Vesna in the tracking with this D10. Once we start advancing, you'll see that on the other camera. Okay, so when Vesna enters the hills, climbing them, he's inside the forest now. Let's see how it looks. I mean, we know that it's wild, so we know that there's going to be a lot of vegetation, but let's generate something. It looks 35, fiercely appropriate, 89, smelly. Okay. I didn't expect that. So as Vesna is following the path left by possibly the body of Inula being dragged, he starts getting inside the forest between 2 hills, and as he enters a thick canopy of trees, the thing that surprises him the most is how he's almost hit in the face by a wave of smell. And the smell reminds him of when the butcher of Whitebridge was a bit lazy, used to leave meat outside his shop to dry on the sun, and when it rot, the smell was unbearable. Well, this is that, but times 20 and much more humid and horrible. He starts gagging a bit, but he contains it. And now he gets inside. Okay, I'm sure this is going to be very fun. So let's delve depths. Since Vesna is relatively impulsive, and we really want to find Inula before anything bad happens to her, well, anything else, I guess. We're going to do this with haste, which transferred to Worlds Without Number is going to be dexterity. And to actually bridge the gap between Worlds Without Number and Ironsworn, I'm going to roll 2d6 Apocalypse World style. So if we roll 10 or more, this will be a strong hit, 7 to 9, weak hit, 6 and less, miss. And we have a +1 in our dexterity. So let's see. I guess that Vesna is back to his usual luck. So now we reveal a danger, something bad happens to Vesna. We roll 1d100, 59. We face an environmental architectural hazard. For this I'm going to roll on the traps random tables in Ironsworn Delve, and we are faced with something that 76 collapses, 33 alarm. So that sounds like something that we're going to have to overcome in order not to get hurt or stuck, and that additionally is going to make a lot of noise. So any kind of enemy that may be attentive to that is going to know that we are here. Perfect. So Vesna is advancing as fast as possible, almost running, jumping between small hills and bumps, when at some moment he's trying to cross between 2 small hills, and instead of going down and up again, he tries to cross over a trunk that is rotten and crossing between them. Sadly, at the second step Vesna takes, the trunk cracks with a horrible sound that is heard all across the forest. And now let's roll dexterity to avoid being heard. Difficulty of 8. Okay, at least we're safe. So we may have alerted enemies, but at least we're not hurt. The trunk breaks, and Vesna falls. But this is not the first time that he has fallen, so he manages to drop to the ground, bumping his butt several times on the ground, but without being seriously hurt. Okay, let's continue because we didn't do anything with this. I was actually thinking I'm going to reduce the difficulty of this, instead of to 10 progress, to 5. because I don't want to spend 5 videos traversing this forest. Okay, so let's delve the depths again. We're still doing this with haste because we want to get to Inula as fast as possible. So we roll with +1 again. Strong hit. Perfect. So we mark progress. Now I get to put this die here and we find an opportunity. It's a 32. An aspect of the history or nature of this place is revealed. Okay, we learn something while we are running as fast as possible. I'm going to draw on the description table for that. What we learn is 56, irritatingly, 31, fancy, irritatingly fancy. And to know what is irritatingly fancy, I'm going to roll on the features table, which Delve has a very smart way of combining themes and domains. If you want to see more about this, I didn't say this. I've got a whole Ironstone Delve review of 40 minutes on my channel. You should see that if you're more curious about Delve. Okay, so which feature are we traversing when we discover this? 94. 94 is something unusual or unexpected. Something irritatingly fancy that is unusual or unexpected. Well, I really wouldn't expect any kind of human construction here. And most definitely, I wouldn't expect to find the entrance of a crypt with statues bearing the same armors that the warriors of Amonkuz were wearing. And this is a shame because we cannot explore it right now. So Vesna is now running through the forest in an area which is relatively stable, not too bumpy. When his heart almost jumps on his chest when he sees what looks to be a warrior of Amonkuz, but grey and covered with moss. And then he sees that there's another one left to it. And when he gets close to that part, because he's still running, he sees how in the ground there are some stone stairs that go down somewhere. But he's still following the track of Silk and the small perturbations in the ground that the body of Inula made when she was bumping horribly. Okay, so now we only need 4 like this, and we'll discover lots of things and we'll have found Inula, and well, hopefully we won't have to fight something really horrible. Okay, so let's delve the depths again. We're still doing it with haste, so plus dexterity, +1. 8. Okay, that's a weak hit, so now we have to roll on a table. 76. Ooh, again, we mark progress and we find another opportunity. That's perfect. Okay, so now we're at 2 and we find an opportunity. This opportunity is 26. Another aspect of the history or nature of this place is revealed. We are learning a lot, and the area we're traversing is 89. Again, something unusual or unexpected. This is starting to be very creepy. And this forest is really starting to look like something more than just the area where a creepy beetle lives. So let's roll the description for this. 74. Naturally. 4. Ancient. So Vesna is following the tracks, just looking at the ground and almost instinctively trying to avoid branches and jumping between patches in the ground. And he doesn't realize that he has entered a clearing. And when he raises his head, he looks to the right. And he hears the deafening roar of a waterfall that ends in a small lake, with a naturally looking bridge of stones that leads inside the waterfall. This really looks like there's something very interesting in these hills, but again, we cannot stop because we have to find where Inula is. Actually, let's make a fate check. Does the path of small bumps and silt get inside the waterfall, or does it follow the forest? So does the path get inside the waterfall? -2. Nope. 10. Almost. It doesn't. Vesna almost stops for a moment. He's just in awe of the waterfall. It can be probably 15-20 meters high, but he just cannot stop and he bolts again. I must say that all in all, we're being quite lucky for now. I'm sure that now we're going to get a huge monster. So let's continue running. Another 8. That's another weak hit. That's very good. So now we roll on the weak hit table, and what we get is 57. We mark progress. Perfect. We are at 3, and the feature we traverse is 89. Again, something unusual or unexpected. I'm really starting to think that Mythic wants to tell us something about this forest. So what's the description of this unusual or unexpected thing? 27. Dimly. 27. Enormous. So after this clearing with the waterfall, Vesna finds himself running in the forest, yes, but he's surrounded by partially buried and overgrown buildings made out of grey stone with a style that he hasn't seen in Whitebridge. He seems to be actually running through the main street of a very small village. that has been completely abandoned and destroyed. I really want to explore this area when we find Inula. I'm sure that there must be something that the cult has done. I mean, we first found the area with the same armors as the warriors of Amonkus, then the waterfall with the path inside, and now a village which is right next to the waterfall. There must be something here. But for now we continue running. 2d6 again. 9, perfect, that's another weak hit, so we roll again on table. 16, that's not going to be bad. Okay, we mark progress, but we reveal a danger. Okay, so we're at 4, and first of all, before revealing danger, let's see where Vesna has advanced in the forest. 96, something unusual or unexpected. What do you want from me, Mythic? What do you want us to know? Another description for something unusual or unexpected. 86, powerfully. 63, mature. Powerfully mature. Since right now I cannot think of anything powerfully mature that's also unexpected, I need more information. I'm going to roll on the feature table Aspect and Focus that Iris Delph has that will hopefully help us defining this. So it is 63, abundant, 50, lair. So abundant layers of something powerfully mature. And we are revealing a danger in this area. So after leaving behind the ruins of the village, Vesna gets into a denser area of the forest. The canopy is thicker, it almost feels like it's dusk, and in the hills that are on both sides of him, he sees caves, really large openings. This has the potential of being horrible. So let's reveal a danger. 18. Check the theme card. So we go to the theme, which is wild, a denizen protecting something. So to see which kind of denizen is powerfully mature and is protecting something, I'm going to roll the Perilous Wilds creature random table. So our denizen is 2, a beast, an earthbound beast, 7, a dog, fox or wolf. A wolf doesn't sound like something extremely scary. I mean, they are dangerous, but not too much. Unless we already know that they are powerfully mature and that we are in a very creepy, strange forest. So as Vesna keeps running, the path forks to the left and starts getting dangerously close to one of the caves. And when he gets almost passing in front of that cave, he sees how 2 huge eyes reflect the light, and a snarl greets him as a huge black head of a wolf comes out, never-ending story style, in an aggressive but also defensive position, as he sees that behind it there are some cubs, and this wolf is being slightly territorial. Now this wolf may be easily 2 meters tall, which makes it extremely dangerous, so I really hope that we don't have to fight it. So now Vesna stops in his tracks, looks at the wolf, and starts backing up, slowly. And now let's make a reaction roll for the wolf. This may be just a bump in the road or the end of Vesna. 6. As predictably hostile or friendly as they'd usually be in this situation. Honestly, I don't have much knowledge about wolves, and much less about magical 2 meter tall wolves. So I'm going to ask the DM, is the wolf going to attack us? 50-50. 11. We are dead. This is a horrible combat that I didn't want to fight. So regarding the stats, let's say that this is a large solitary predator, which 5 HD, 13 armor class, plus 6 attack, but we're immune to shock. So maybe with Veteran's luck, we may be able to solve this. So let's roll for initiative. It's 1d8 plus the dexterity of each side. It's +1 for Vesna, and I'm going to give a +2 to the wolf because it's huge. So it is. For Vesna, a 5. For the wolf, an 8. We know that the wolf is going to attack, so it leaps towards Vesna, trying to bite him. It has a +6. 9. It fails. Great. So Vesna, who's prepared against this, puts the shield between them and the wolf just bumps onto it. And now he's going to attack. He's got a +3 in bonus, so we have a 50-50 chance of hitting. Well, good. That's a hit. Again, we don't have critical hits, so that's a shame. But that's now 1d6 +2 of damage. Ah. Damn. 3 points of damage. So let's see if the first hit die of the wolf is out. No, it's not. So stepping back due to the strength of the lunge, he manages to scrape a bit, to slash against the wolf, but it's nothing significant, and the wolf is large enough that it's really nothing, it's just a scratch. Okay, so the wolf goes at it again. That's 16, that would hit, so we're going to use Veteran's Luck. And when the wolf tries to avoid the shield going to the other side, Vesna recognizes that in the last moment and steps back, and the wolf just bites in the air instead of destroying his knee. Now let's attack again, +3. Yes, that's another hit. So that's 5 points of damage. So the first hit dice goes, and now I've got 3 points of damage for the second one. Yes, the second one also goes, and we now have 2 points of damage for the third one. Nope. So the third hit die has got 5 points left. So profiting from the fact that the wolf overextended to try to bite his leg, he now slashes, and this time he opens a good gash here next to the neck, and the wolf starts bleeding profusely. If the wolf loses its third hit dice, I'm going to make it roll a morale check. Okay, but now the wolf attacks again, and we don't have Veteran's Luck anymore. Ooh, my god. Okay, that's an 8, so it fails. So revolving after the strike, it tries to bite almost at the sword, but it just bites the air again. I'm really nervous. Okay, let's attack again. In another situation, I may think about taking a torch and lighting it on fire, but in this case, I mean, we have a huge 2-meter tall wolf trying to bite at us, so it's just not practical. Okay, so let's attack. +3. Ah, no. 8. So Vesna tries to slash again, and this time actually the blade collides with the bite of the wolf in a strange clash where nobody hurts anybody. I stopped to think again for a moment because I was trying to see if we had any other option, because the cards are stacked against us, but I don't think we have any other option apart from maybe running if it bites us. Okay, so the wolf attacks us again. +6. Ah, that's a 15. That hits. We've got a 14. That's 1d8 of damage, and we only have 10 points right now because we were hurt with the guards. So, God, no. So after clashing with the teeth of the wolf, trying to slash at it, Vesna takes 2 steps back to reposition and calculate, and the wolf just tackles him, pins him to the floor, and starts biting his neck, opening several wounds and several holes. And Vesna starts bleeding profusely. We are at 2 hit point right now. Vesna has to run. I don't think there's any other option. Vesna has to run. Okay, so we're going to try to run away. Does the wolf chase us? Since it was protecting its cubs, it wouldn't make much sense, so I'm going to give it a -4, but there's still a chance that it may chase us. So, does the wolf chase us? That's 12, so that would be a yes, but since we are adjusting it with a -4, that's an 8, so it doesn't. After making a huge mess in the shoulder and neck area of Vesna tries to escape, sliding back, and just bolts and starts running. The wolf, seeing that, stands there, looking at Vesna, almost without blinking, for a minute, and then with a calm expression, goes back to the cave. And this is where we're going to end the episode, with Vesna running, extremely hurt, with only 2 HP left, and 1 roll left to find Inula, hopefully alive, in the hands of a extremely large, beetle-like monster. Will Vesna survive? I hope so. But nevertheless, I hope to see you again here next year in episode 9 of Stories of Bardoba. Bye bye.